guys, my name is Samantha, and today I'm going to talk about something that didn't happen too long ago, but has changed my life forever. I know, sounds really dramatic, but believe me, when you're having to fight with your inner voices to just attempt eating normally, it can just be a tad bit difficult. To clue you in, about 3.5 years ago, during my freshman year in high school, I had to come down with a cold. The usual combination between having sandpaper for a throat and sounding like a dying frog. The problem, though, was even after my cold had ran its course, whenever I ate, it felt painful and difficult. With each passing week, I barely ate anything in comparison to my unending appetite, and I had nervous tendencies coming to the surface with each meal. From an outsider's perspective, it looked like I was starving myself, possibly becoming anorexic with the behaviors I was exhibiting. But on the inside, my mind was constantly at war. The rational part of myself was trying relentlessly to tell myself that I'm fine, and using terms like, think back, or you had no problems eating this before 2 weeks ago. While I had another voice painting frightful pictures of my throat stopping in mid-swallow and choking. This voice always told me and convinced me of the worst possible outcomes unless I chewed my food until it no longer had form or taste to it. The power of my own mind's words convinced me without a doubt to live my life in fear. It's like having two voices arguing and you're playing mediator. Every time you try to get in a word edgewise, they both turn to you and tell you to shut up. The amount of power these voices had in their words still amazes me to this day. And it didn't help with my parents being on two different ends of the spectrum. My dad thinking I was depressed or that something was in fact wrong with my throat. He found truth from reading articles that only supported his theories that I was in fact becoming depressed or had some sort of eating disorder. The things that he was telling me I know was meant to be encouraging, but it seemed to add fuel to the fire inside of me. While my mother, being a nurse, was telling me that there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. And her words seemed to slide off of me like water on a duck's tail. No matter how many times she yelled or got frustrated at me, I met her with the same responses of defeat and just wanting to find a light to the end of this tunnel. It took 3 other medical professionals telling me in their ethical wording that I am in fact perfectly fine. It's just that I have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. When they told me this, deep down, hiding behind all those competing voices, a part of me knew all along. I just needed someone to explain to me that I was fine and that it can be fixed, since I no longer wanted to be defined by my actions or feel ashamed for what I was going through. Since it wasn't always the actions that brought me down, but the words that were and were not spoken. The looks I got from classmates that didn't quite understand but tried to nod their head in understanding, or just the lack of concern others gave me because they saw nothing wrong with me, which only continued to confuse me. But after finally finding a word for what I was going on inside of myself and all of the emotional damage I had taken over the course of 5 months, I finally began to accept that in order to get better, I needed help to lessen the voices going on inside of me. So this is something I needed to talk about and definitely not with my parents, but with someone who was willing to listen. Now, 3.5 years later, I no longer have to deal with multiple personalities duking it out in my head. Instead, the only thing I have to listen to is me, myself, and I. Words and opinions are clear, and I've become stronger as a person from this.